So your Godot game is coming along great, and you're ready to really start polishing it. You started out by doing a simple call to getTree.changeScene when you want to change scenes, which works, but isn't exactly a nice experience for the player since the game just instantly changes to the new scene. It's even worse if you have any amount of loading to do since the game hangs on the previous scene and the player isn't sure if the game has frozen or not. Instead, you'd like to show a small animation or at least a static loading screen to the player so that they know the game is working as intended. So here's how we can do this. We'll start by making a scene called Scene Transition with a root node type of canvas layer so that it appears on top of everything else. We'll then add a color rect node and call it dissolve rect and configure it appropriately to our game and style preferences. And we'll also make sure to have it ignore mouse events so it doesn't interfere with user input, and we'll go ahead and set its module alpha to 0 so that it is invisible. Next, we'll add an animation player node with two animations, reset and dissolve. In case you're unfamiliar with it, the reset animation is a special animation in Godot and will run whenever the game starts so that you can make sure you have a consistent starting point for your animations. We'll use this to make it so our dissolve rectangle always defaults to invisible by adding a keyframe on its modulate property while the alpha is 0. For the dissolve animation, make it about half a second long and add two keyframes, at time 0 with an alpha value of 0 on the modulate, and at time 0.5 or however long your animation is with an alpha value of 255. So now when you play the animation, you should see your color rect fade in. We'll use this animation to cover up our scene transitions and then play it backwards so that it fades out after we change scenes. So now let's code it up. To make it easy to swap with our current code, we'll add a script scene transition and add this function which will let us switch to a scene by path the same way we do with getTree.changeScene, but we'll wait until the dissolve animation has concluded to do so. Once the scene has transitioned, we'll play the animation backwards to fade the dissolve rectangle out and reveal our newly loaded scene. We'll then make this scene an autoload so that we can access it from anywhere and can also be sure that it's available in the application tree at any time. To connect our fancy new transition effect, we'll just go through our application anywhere we want to use it and swap getTree.changeScene with sceneTransition.changeScene, assuming you use the autoload name sceneTransition. Change as needed. From here you can customize as you like, making use of shaders, custom animations, background loading so you can show progress if needed, and so on. For example, we could add a parameter to our change scene function that allows us to choose from multiple animations so that we can show different transitions in different settings. In today's sample project, for instance, we use this so the main menu can play the dissolve animation to change scenes, while the game scene plays a wipe animation with a cloud graphic that provides a smooth, pleasant transition. You really can go any direction you want from here now that you have a top level scene that can control when and how to transition between scenes. Let your imagination go wild.